I still hear her gasps, short, sharp, wet with panic. The kind of sound that slices through your spine before you even turn to look. I remember dropping to my knees on the cold living room floor, my hands trembling as I tried to lift my daughter's tiny body. Her lips were already fading into that sickening shade of blue that no parent should ever have to see. "Call 911!" I screamed. And then came the sentence that turned a mother into a monster who would stop at nothing. "She's faking it for attention like always." My twin's voice, flat, bored, as if my child, my heart, gasping like a dying bird, was some inconvenient performance. I spun toward her, but she only smirked. Mom stood behind her, arms crossed. Dad leaned against the doorway like he was watching a soap opera, not a medical emergency. "Let her get it out of her system," Mom said. Dad nodded. "She'll stop when she realizes we're not falling for it." I lunged for my phone, but my sister snatched it away before I could touch it. "You're not calling anyone." When her fingers closed around the phone, something broke inside me. Something old, something tired, something that had been rotting quietly for years. But I didn't scream. I didn't push. I held my daughter's lifeless little body while Mom pinned my arms, whispering, "You always make everything dramatic." 4 minutes. She didn't breathe for 4 minutes, and they watched. I would have lost her if the neighbor hadn't heard my screams through the open window, if she hadn't called 911, if the paramedics hadn't burst through that door like Salvation wearing navy blue uniforms. I learned then exactly what my family thought I was worth: nothing. And my daughter? Even less. But here's the part they never saw coming. I stopped being the girl who begged for love that day. I became the woman who plans. People always ask when the betrayal truly started. But betrayal isn't one moment, it's layers. Slow, subtle, like a knife slipping between ribs. It started when my sister stole my boyfriend at 16 and my parents laughed. When she crashed my car and they blamed me. When she tested boundaries and they applauded. I was always the dramatic twin, the overreactor, the one they didn't have to believe. So when they pinned my arms while my child suffocated, it wasn't a new betrayal, it was the final one. The shift didn't come with rage, it came with clarity. I didn't storm out of the house, I walked. Ambulance lights washed over the street in violent reds, and as they worked on my daughter inside, I memorized every detail of what had just happened. Their words, their hands, their refusal. Because I knew exactly who I'd repeat them to. Slowly, calmly, under oath. Planning felt like breathing after drowning. Everything snapped into place with terrifying ease. CPS asked questions, doctors filed reports, paramedics documented details, and I told the truth, not embellished, not emotional, just the cold, raw facts they had gifted me. But I didn't stop there. I gathered old text messages where my sister joked about faking illnesses for attention. I printed emails from teachers who had reported my parents' neglect when I was a child. I found medical notes about my own untreated asthma attacks that suddenly didn't feel like faulty childhood memories anymore. I didn't realize until then I had been collecting evidence my whole life. All it needed was a spark. My daughter had been that spark. The climax wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. We sat in a conference room at CPS headquarters. My parents on one side, my sister beside them, smug, smirking. They thought this was just another dramatic episode, another situation they'd taught their way out of. Then the investigator pressed play. And the room filled with the sound of my daughter's gasps, from the neighbor's phone recording. The moment her voice cracked. The moment my sister snarled, "She's faking it." The moment my mother said, "Let her get it out of her system." The moment my father agreed. The moment they held me back. Watching their faces crumble, one muscle at a time, that was the revenge I never had to lift a finger for. CPS didn't just find them negligent, they found them dangerous. To children, to me, to anyone who couldn't fight back. Restraining orders, mandatory evaluations, investigations reopened from years ago, their web finally collapsing on top of them. My sister lost her job within a week. My parents became pariahs in the community they once ruled, and I walked out, holding my daughter's hand. People ask if I regret it, as if justice leaves a bitter taste. But when you've held a child who wasn't breathing, regret becomes a luxury for safer people. I don't regret anything. I only regret not ending their power sooner. And when I tuck my daughter in at night, when she sleeps safe, warm, alive, I realize something.